girls. Me and Lenny are here today to read you a story. The book we are reading today is a little bit of a love story, but with a twist. So it's very cute. The book is called Stinky Smelly Feet, a love story. So this is pretty exciting. Lenny's going to help me read today. Okay, here we go. You ready, Len? You ready to read? Oh, he's ready. Let me get a little closer. Douglas and his dear friend Dolores were having a splendid day in the park. Get a little bit closer for you. They skated, they sailed, they snacked on cucumber and butter sandwiches beneath a big shady tree. Douglas was quite smitten with Dolores, and one could see that Dolores was quite smitten with Douglas as well. Do you know what the word smitten means? Kind of means they have a little crush on each other. They think they really like each other. Dolores giggled. "Let's kick off our shoes and let the grass tickle our toes." "That's fun," said Douglas. "Yes, let's." Douglas pulled off his left shoe. He had just flung off his right shoe with carefree abundance, so he just threw it away when suddenly, there's them at the park. When suddenly, plunk, down went Dolores. "Oh my, oh me," cried Douglas. He fanned Dolores with a napkin to give her some air. "Whew! What's wrong, my dear, what's wrong?" Dolores opened her eyes and mumbled softly. "Oh my, oh me, I can't hear you," said Douglas, furiously fanning and waving and waving and fanning. Dolores mumbled again. "I can't hear you," said Douglas with another fan and wave. Dolores mumbled some more. "Oh, Dolores dear, what can I do? What can I do?" cried poor Douglas. He's pretty upset. Look at her. I've never read a story about a love story about stinky feet, so this will be interesting. Dolores sat up. She took a deep breath. "Put on your shoes," she shouted. "You have stinky, smelly feet." And guess what happened? Ker-plunk. Down again went Dolores. So you can see her hand down here. She's on the ground. "Oh my, oh me," said Douglas. He didn't know what to do first, fan Dolores or put on his shoes. "Shoes, shoes," muttered Dolores oh so softly. Shoes it was. And in no time, Dolores came to. That was a close one, she sighed. Douglas helped Dolores off the ground. She picked a squished cucumber and butter sandwich from her hair. He, of course, was very embarrassed about having stinky, smelly feet. "Think nothing of it," said Dolores, patting his hand, "but I do think a bath might be in order." Douglas was in total agreement. A long, hot, soapy bubble bath with plenty of bubbles was surely the cure for those stinky, smelly feet. This is kind of a funny picture because look at the birds. They fell to the ground too. So he's going to go home and wash his feet. After saying adieu, so goodbye, to Dolores, Douglas hurried home. He filled the tub and soaked in the hot, soapy water for 1 whole hour and 15 minutes. His feet now smelled quite delightful. Not a bit of stink to be sniffed. Douglas telephoned Dolores to tell her the good news. Ring, 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 ring. She was very happy to hear it. "Would you care to take a whiff this evening?" he asked with great confidence. Dolores ever so politely declined, but she did accept Douglas's invitation to see a movie. There they are. There's Douglas in the bathtub. So here's in the movie theater. At the movie theater, he bought her a big tub of popcorn, a box of chocolate candies with sprinkles, and a giant soda with 2 straws. Yes, it was plain to see that Douglas was smitten with Dolores, and Dolores was indeed very smitten with Douglas as well. The two sat very close together in row 13, which was their favorite number. The theater darkened, the music swelled, the movie was just about to begin when Douglas felt something very uncomfortable under his left big toe. "Oh my, oh me," whispered Douglas to Dolores. "I think I have a pebble in my shoe." "Oh, please do remove it before the movie starts," Dolores whispered back. "That can be so unpleasant." Douglas untied the laces and slipped his foot out from the shoe. Then suddenly he heard a... There's a picture of them at the movie theater. So what do you think is going to happen? Did he fix the problem? He heard a plop. "Oh my, oh me," gasped Douglas. Dolores was face first in the popcorn. That's pretty funny. Look at that picture. She passed out. Plop, 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 plop went everyone else in the row alongside Douglas, and the next row, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. There was a loud P.U. followed by a mad rush for the exit. A policeman in the lobby shouted through a bullhorn. Those are the big horns that project your voice. And he said, "You in there with those stinky, smelly feet, come out with your shoes on." Douglas was extremely embarrassed about having stinky, smelly feet again, especially in public. Dolores pulled a piece of popcorn from her ear and patted his hand. "Perhaps what you need is a bit more powder, my love." Douglas looked at Dolores. "Perhaps." Oh, he's not feeling too good, is he, about his stinky feet? So he's going to try some powder next. So Douglas went home and showered and powdered and perfumed, then sprayed, sprayed, sprayed. His toes were decidedly more fragrant, the most fragrant they had ever been. He went to sleep that night very happy and pleased, knowing he no longer had stinky, smelly feet. Thank goodness. And there he is with all the cans and perfumes and powders down here. The very next morning, Douglas knocked on Dolores's door. "Care to join me for a day at the beach?" he asked, with a big grin and sweet feet. "I would love to," replied Dolores. So the two packed up their blanket, towels, buckets, and a big striped umbrella, and off they went. So they're headed to the beach. Do you think his problem's been cleared up? Let's find out. Dolores stuck the umbrella deep into the sand, and he and Dolores sat under its shade, staring at the ocean and watching the waves. Then gathered shells, they built a big sandcastle for two, and they shared a hot dog with lots of mustard. Ooh, it sounds like a delightful day. Look at that big hot dog. Ooh. Yes, Douglas was very smitten with Dolores, and Dolores was indeed quite smitten with Douglas as well. She looked into his eyes and said, "Shall we wiggle our toes in the sand?" Just to be safe, Douglas checked which way the wind was blowing. So you can check like this. If you lick your finger and stick your finger when you're outside, whatever side dries faster on your finger, that's what way the wind is blowing. Just to be prepared, he handed Dolores a clothespin for her nose, just in case. Alas, it was not enough. When Douglas removed his shoes, Dolores went down for the third time. P.U. cried the crowd. The lifeguard blew his whistle. Abandon the beaches, he yelled. Uh-oh. Poor Douglas. Look at the people that are running away. You see that? Water, water, mumbled a faint Dolores through her clothespin nostrils. Douglas grabbed his bucket, hurried to the water's edge, and ran back to Dolores. Splash, right in the face. Not for me, she gulped and coughed. For your feet. Oh my, oh me, said Douglas, wading sadly into the ocean. It was not a good day at the beach. It was not a good day for Douglas and Dolores. And look at this picture. The airplane's in the sky and it says, you stink. And all the fish are turned upside down. Poor Douglas, he just can't get rid of his problem. I have stinky, smelly feet, and that's all there is to it, sighed Douglas after another long, hot, soapy bath. Dolores sat down next to Douglas, patted his hand, and sighed as well. They were both quiet. They were both quiet for a long time. And then Dolores smelled something very bad, very foul, and very nasty. It was not Douglas. Look at where the green smell is coming from. It was coming from the bedroom closet. Aha! Dolores happily exclaimed as she made the discovery. I don't think you have stinky feet at all. Oh my, oh me, I don't? Said Douglas, very surprised. Dolores held her nose and shook her head. No, not in the least. Your feet are fine. It's your shoes. I believe you have stinky, smelly shoes. They both sniffed. Urgh. Look at all the shoes in the closet. Oh, the poor cat. They came to and concluded, yes, it was most definitely the shoes. So they got rid of the shoes, every last stinky pair. Douglas was more than ever smitten with Dolores, and Dolores remained very smitten with Douglas as well, which was very nice indeed. Because, as it turns out, Douglas's shoes really weren't the problem. They threw them all in the garbage and you got brand new shoes. No, the shoes weren't the problem. He had stinky, smelly feet, but it did not matter, for what Douglas and Dolores had was really true love. Oh, the end. Well, that was a stinky, smelly love story, wasn't it? I thought that was rather cute. So, your task today for the book, Stinky, Smelly Feet, you are going to retell me the story. So this could be a journal entry if you'd like. You can get a piece of paper, and on the top of your paper, you can have a picture that goes with our story. So that would have our characters in there. So the two main characters are Douglas and Dolores. What happens in the beginning? What happens in the beginning, and what seems to be the problem in the whole story? And then you have to think about how is it solved? How is the problem solved? And what happens in the end? Okay, so boys and girls, if you need to listen to the story again, that's absolutely fine. And remember, your sentences always start with a capital. End with a period, and remember your finger spaces between your words so that I can read it. Okay, boys and girls, have a great day.